But before Dave could decide what to do, Supreme Security's assassins found them. With Dave slowing her down, escape wasn't realistic. They were quickly overwhelmed and captured. When Emma woke up, she was in an empty house. A fancy breakfast was set on the table, and outside was a forest. As she tried to make sense of her situation, she suddenly heard her children laughing. She rushed toward the sound, and froze in horror. Gwen was with her kids. Emma understood immediately. This wasn't kindness, it was leverage. Pretending to be a sweet, grandmotherly figure in front of the kids, Gwen switched back to her cold, Queen of Killers demeanor the moment they were gone. She demanded that Emma return to the organization. And to prove her loyalty, she ordered Emma to kill her own husband. With her children as hostages, Emma had no real choice. Soon Emma and Dave were taken deep into the woods. Emma stayed calm. She knew there had to be snipers nearby, and she was right. Every step she took was already in someone's crosshairs. Suddenly, Emma stopped walking. She turned and told Dave to hold her, as if saying goodbye, because she was. A gunshot rang out. Dave collapsed. Emma tossed the gun aside, acting like she'd simply completed a task. Moments later, a jeep pulled up. A woman carrying a body bag approached. While she checked Dave's corpse, Emma slipped into the sniper's blind spot. When the sniper bent down to examine the body, Emma launched a surprise attack. As the sniper frantically searched for her, a voice suddenly whispered behind him, "Hello there." Emma had already told Dave her plan earlier. He would pretend to die, and she would make sure the bullet only grazed him. They fooled everyone. After killing the sniper, Emma checked Dave's wound. Once she confirmed he wasn't seriously hurt, they moved to rescue the kids. They eliminated the guards outside and seized their weapons. Seeing another assassin approaching, Emma told Dave to hide behind a car and rushed in alone, taking the killer out in seconds. Now they had to split up. Emma handed Dave a tranquilizer gun and instructed him to save the kids while she went after Gwen. When he returns home, police are waiting. At the station, his world collapses. Detectives tell him Emma's real name is Anna, a cold-blooded assassin who stole her identity. The woman she impersonated died 8 years ago. Interpol agent Gwen shows him Emma's travel history. Everywhere she went, a murder occurred the same day. Confused and terrified, he goes home and searches for answers. In the attic, he finds a locked wooden box. Inside are IDs, masks, and a sniper rifle. Now he knows the truth. Meanwhile, Emma reaches Berlin. Her handler hands her new passports. The plan is to flee with her family to Canada. But trouble follows. Emma notices a tail in the mirror and orders Jeff to pull over. She runs into a bar, but a large man follows her inside. He searches everywhere and leaves empty-handed, not realizing Emma was hiding behind another man. When he steps into a quiet corner, Emma strikes. The giant is no match for her and gets kicked across the room. But more enemies appear, forcing her to run again. A female assassin pursues her. Emma disappears, but the woman knows she's still inside. Emma searched carefully, scanning every corner. When she walked past a bus stop, she suddenly sprang out from behind and wrapped her arm tight around the female assassin's neck. No matter how hard the woman struggled, Emma overpowered her and slammed her to the ground. After subduing the killer, Emma rushed off, but the moment she reached the car, the big guy from earlier suddenly woke up and charged at them again. Jeff fired back in a panic. While the man dodged, Emma slammed the gas pedal and the car shot forward like a bullet, leaving danger behind. Emma finally let out a breath of relief, but something felt wrong. Jeff had been shot in the stomach and was barely hanging on. Emma grabbed the steering wheel, moved his foot off the gas, and drove into a quiet corner before stopping the car. By then, Jeff was already gone. Emma was devastated, furious and guilt-stricken. Meanwhile, Dave was growing frantic back home. He called every single number he found in the locked box from the attic. Most were disconnected, others hung up immediately. Only one card remained, a real estate agent in Berlin. He dialed the number, clinging to his last bit of hope. The phone rang, but no one answered. It was Jeff's number. Emma held the phone silently, not knowing what to say. Dave didn't hang up either. He could sense that the person on the other end was his wife. Eventually, Emma asked quietly, "Are you alone?" She briefly explained the situation and told him, for safety, to go outside before they continued talking. Over the phone, Emma admitted she was indeed a killer. She begged him to take the kids and hide, saying she would fix everything and meet them soon. But Dave refused. He didn't want her facing danger alone. He insisted on flying to Berlin, and he did. After passing security, he was picked up by a bearded, heavy-set man. who dropped him off at a small tavern. Inside, Emma was already waiting. She answered all his questions and revealed her past. Her father had been an agent. After retiring, he and Gwen co-founded the Supreme Security Company, but when her father died in an accident, young Emma was raised by Gwen, who, in the name of maximizing profits, trained Emma into a ruthless tool for the company. Emma eventually abandoned that life after meeting Dave. She erased her identity and disappeared, but the company eventually found her again. Luckily, she already had a backup plan. New passports for the whole family, ready for a fresh start in Canada. This woman is carefully touching up her makeup, but she's not getting ready for a date, she's getting ready to kill. That's right. Emma is an assassin, constantly traveling the world for contracts, but unlike most killers, she actually has a warm, happy home, a loving husband and 2 adorable kids. Unfortunately, today she let her husband down. It's their 7th wedding anniversary, and she completely forgot. Trying to make up for it, Emma suggests they go to a hotel this weekend, pretend to accidentally meet, and spend a romantic night together. Her husband happily agrees, not knowing this decision is about to tear their family apart. Saturday night arrives, Emma gets to the hotel early. But her husband is stuck in traffic. While she waits, a talkative old man approaches her. Even though Emma isn't interested, she forces a polite handshake. He introduces himself as Bob, claims he's just passing through on business, and starts rambling nonstop. Emma is bored to sleep by his nonsense, but luckily her husband finally arrives. Bob leaves, only to return moments later, insisting all 3 of them share a drink. Ignoring their clear discomfort, he keeps pushing himself into their space, but while he annoys Emma, he also triggers her instincts. Something about him feels wrong, and he has no idea he's already marked himself for death. Before leaving, he casually tells Emma his room number and invites her to visit him later. After kicking Bob away, Emma helps her woozy husband back to the room. Just as he's expecting a romantic night, his eyes suddenly close and he falls into a deep sleep. Emma drugged him. She scribbles a note, leaves the room, and goes straight to the 5th floor. The countdown on her phone reads 4:09. Bob opens the door. He's not surprised to see her. In fact, he's been waiting. Bob is also a hitman. Whoever pays, he works for, and right now, Emma is a wanted woman. Her former employer, Superior Security, has posted a massive bounty for her capture. The moment Bob saw her in the lobby, he recognized her, but instead of turning her in, he smelled opportunity. A steady income is worth more than a one-time reward, so he invited her here to negotiate. Bob wants Emma to work for him and split commissions. When she refuses, he threatens to expose her location, but Emma isn't nervous at all. While they talk, she casually checks her phone. Bob feels confident. He thinks he's in control, until suddenly, his body stiffens, his voice stops, he collapses. Exactly as Emma planned, from the moment Bob first approached her. She sensed danger, so she slipped poison into his drink. The timer on her phone marked the moment it would take full effect, but just as she relaxes, her husband calls. She picks up the phone, and to her shock, Bob suddenly stands back up and fires at her. His movements are stiff and slow, making him easy for Emma to dodge. She charges forward, grabs his arm, and kills him. Emma knows her cover is blown, but she has no choice. Survival comes first. Back in her room, her husband suspects nothing. But the next morning, the news headline exposes everything. Man found dead in hotel. Couple identified as prime suspects. Her husband is devastated, Emma is frustrated, and she refuses to let anyone destroy her family. She leaves home at dawn and heads to Germany to meet her handler, Jeff, hoping he can help her disappear. Meanwhile, her husband is falling apart. He obsessively checks the news and can't reach Emma at all. He waits for her at the airport, but she never arrives. Flight records don't show her name. He stays until the last passenger leaves, but she's nowhere. Meanwhile, Gwen was getting impatient. Why was the forest so quiet? A bullet suddenly answered her question. Her vest stopped the shot, but she quickly drew her weapon and scanned the trees for Emma. What she didn't expect was the danger coming from above. Emma dropped down from an overhead branch, and the two began fighting fiercely. Elsewhere, Dave tiptoed toward the room where the kids were being held. As he reached the door, he ran into a guard walking out. Panicking, he pulled the trigger of the tranquilizer gun. He barely managed to catch the man's falling body and drag him inside. Back in the forest, Emma and Gwen's fight had reached its peak. They were choking, Grappling, rolling across the ground, Emma pinned Gwen down, but Gwen tightened her grip around Emma's neck. Emma used her momentum, forced Gwen back, and drove a blade into her. When she got up, Gwen had vanished, but Emma knew she couldn't be far. Gwen was limping toward the forest edge when she heard Emma's voice behind her. She searched frantically. The forest was thick, the shadows deep. Emma disappeared again. To lure her out, Gwen tried using emotional manipulation. Emma didn't buy it. She answered with bullets. An enraged Gwen fired wildly, until she realized she had run out of ammo. As she tried to run, Emma tackled her. They fell hard, and Gwen was shot in the stomach. Knowing she couldn't escape, Gwen begged for a quick death, but Emma refused. Gwen had raised her. Killing her would haunt her forever. She left Gwen there alive, but defeated. Emma then rushed to reunite with her family. Soon they were back together, hugging tightly. They drove away toward a new life, toward peace, safety, and a second chance. And that was Roleplay Movie 2024, where one secret turns an ordinary marriage into a deadly chase. What do you think, if your partner had a hidden life like Emma? Would you run, forgive, or fight beside them? Tell me your thoughts below. Like, share, and subscribe for more fast-paced movie recaps.